Place the way they work, you know?
Yeah.
Anything you want.
I feel like we paint the curtains like the Great Wizard of Oz.
Fine.
Yeah, I just double checked.
Yeah.
And the sections.
Those are.
They say wish half your life was wine older as a little kid, and you get older and you wish half your life was you.
Yeah, because there's two properties and it has 2
Friendly
years.
faces.
Yeah, or they
Yeah.
I need that one too, thank you.
I remember when I was a kid that
fair trade.
There you go.
because I never like being in front of people. Like a talent show, and I got it out onto the stage, and I went down and completely froze. And they had to like pull me off the stage. It was awful. Like, but then at the end, the teacher came out and stood with me, and I did my thing, and then so I didn't do it, but.
Good evening and welcome to the Springfield School District Board of School Directors regular board meeting, November 17th, 2022. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening. First up, we have public comment. First speaker would be Mr. Lee.
Good evening. Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, United States of America. First of all, I'd like to say, Mr. President, the shirt I was presented with at the September board meeting, to paraphrase the late Johnny Cochran, I must admit the shirt fits. Now, this past Sunday, I had the pleasure of attending the musical concert by the Philadelphia Boys Choir. I want to thank the board and the administration for arranging that concert. I had an enjoyable time, as I'm sure everyone else who attended did. And I hope these young fellows incorporate music into their careers. It would be a shame if their talent went to waste. This coming Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022, at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. Central Time, one of the worst tragedies to happen to our country was the assassination of one of the finest men who ever held the office of president, John F. Kennedy. I'm going to ask everyone, and also too that day, I almost forgot him, Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit, the fellow who was accused of killing President Kennedy, is also accused of having killed Officer Tippit. And unfortunately, in accounts of that day, Officer Tippit has pretty much become the forgotten man. I'm going to ask everyone if you could think of it around that time to observe a minute of silence for President Kennedy and Officer Tippit. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. And I'm going to ask everyone, whatever your Thanksgiving dinner consists of, whether it's turkey with all the trimmings, or simply, as one of my coworkers once said, that he was going to have at Passover, a beer and a pizza. I'm going to ask you to give thanks for the many blessings you've had in your life, but also to give thanks for the teachers of this school district. From pre-K all the way up to the 12th grade. They get a scarcity of appreciation, an overabundance of criticism, free verbal abuse, and possible threats to their safety. While at times constructive criticism is warranted, verbal abuse and the threats of harm are not. They're doing a great job all things considered. And also to give thanks for the administration that we have in the school district. And last but not least, our board of directors. They're doing everything they can to keep our district on an even keel and to prepare and train the leaders of tomorrow. After all, the students in this district, those districts throughout the county and the Commonwealth and this great country are the leaders of tomorrow, and we're really going to need them. So again, give thanks for give thanks for the many blessings you've had, but for the people that are educating the children in this district. And again, I want to wish all of you, whether you celebrate or not, a happy Thanksgiving. And if you're traveling, please observe the rules of the road. The life you save may very well be your own. Thank you for listening. Good night. May God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. I'm glad the shirt works. And Mr. Lee, being well-versed in the way things go, I forgot to say, please state your name and either your address or if it's correct. You said it. You're good. You're good.
We're good.
You know the drill.
You know the drill.
But I just wanted to remind everybody else, so just state your name, address, or if the address on the form is correct. We appreciate it. Next, we have Diane Ozenbalzel.
Hello, my name is Diane Ozambella, and I have a child in the district, and my address is correct on the form. So my overall message is that our public school system is a successful, vibrant, and critical part of our community, and it is not something to take for granted. Rather, it's something to lift up and support in whatever way we can, to make it even more excellent so its students continue to thrive during K through 12 and in their pursuits after graduation. I'm here today to issue a word of caution so everyone can be made aware. There is a nefarious organization out there that aims to attack our public schools, and instead of working together on solutions for school safety and mental health, for instance, they make distractions by complaining about things like rainbow flags, like the teaching of the shameful parts of our country's and our world's history, and other bizarre distractions and talking points. Their antics are already well documented across the nation. It is a political group called Moms for Liberty. And if the local chapter of these agents pursues the group's agenda, they will be doing just that, starting with attacking rainbow flags. You know, the flag that represents love and acceptance, friendship and safety for our at-risk LGBTQ students. This Moms for Liberty group pretends to advocate for parental rights, but it is using parents as agents to advance a far-right political agenda. There was even an extremist governor candidate whose aim was to massively defund public schools, not to mention a local political candidate who celebrates endorsement by this very group. The September school board meeting showed us that the Springfield School District community is overwhelmingly in support of caring for the well-being of our LGBTQ students, teachers, and community members. So many residents came out to speak about their lived experience as an LGBTQ student or a parent of such a student in response to a disgraceful petition aligned with the Moms for Liberty talking points, left on our cars under the cover of darkness on a back-to-school night. The many speakers made it evident, Springfield School District is not a place to try to deny existence of or discriminate against the LGBTQ community. We are an accepting, supportive, caring community. So my message tonight is this. Don't let the Moms for Liberty agents distract us from the school district's core mission and the good work that needs to be done. We need to work to secure funding to hire more teachers to keep class sizes down and to fund social work and guidance programs to support student mental health. We need to work to keep our students safe and work to keep our teachers supported in this difficult climate. There is a lot of good work to be done. We parents need to use our parental rights to support our schools, and don't be distracted by the noise. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Gary Byrne.
Good evening, I'm Gary Byrne. I am a Springfield resident, and I had a daughter who graduated from here, and my son should have graduated in 2020. My address is correct on the form outside. Tonight I want to talk about my son, Ethan Byrne, who took his own life as a senior at this school. He died on October 19th, 2020. He was being bullied and harassed at this school. The school principal at the time, Mr. Hepp, knew about it. He knew at least 4 days before Ethan died, and nobody contacted us. Right after Ethan died, I got phone calls from Mr. Hepp and from Dr. Barber telling me how sorry they were. I believed them at the time. And I also decided I would take them up on their offer that if we ever needed anything to contact them. As you can imagine, as the parents of a child who took their own life, it took us a long time, 3 months before we could function. When I tried to contact Mr. Hepp here at the high school, I made 2 phone calls, and each time I got, the first time I got a voicemail, the second time I got a receptionist, and I told her who I was and what I needed. She put me right to voicemail. There was no reply after a week. So then I sent 2 emails to Mr. Hepp, and there were no replies. I didn't get too worked up over it because at the time they were actually moving from the old school to the new school, so I figured, okay, he is the principal. So then about 3 or 4 days after that, I got a phone call from Dr. Barber telling me how sorry he was that what had happened to Ethan, and he actually said to me on the phone that he was holding a picture of Ethan in his hand or looking at one, and how sorry he was. And I said, well, here's what I need from you. I need a meeting. In the meantime, we had gotten Ethan's cell phone opened up, and we had figured out what was happening, and it was happening here at the school. He was being harassed. This false rumor that Ethan was a racist was started by Brendan McKnight. He then, when it wasn't enough to scare Ethan, he then told Ethan that he was going to tell a girl named Jordan Chisholm, who went on social media, took the information, the false information that McKnight had given her, and he had manufactured it himself and manipulated it electronically and gave it to Jordan Chisholm, and then she just assumed it was all true. She went on social media, and for at least 5 months at this school and on social media and the chat lines, he was being harassed. And he got his last threat on October 19th at the dinner table. We didn't know it at the time. He was being threatened also by a former student named Joe Palm, who was a student, an adult student at Penn State. So the last thing I want to mention to you is in my conversation with Dr. Barber, when I pointed out to him that that the school had a responsibility, according to state law, to do an investigation, he snapped at me, and all of a sudden I wasn't the grieving father anymore. I was just somebody challenging his authority. And he reprimanded me on the phone, and I laughed in his face and said, 5 minutes ago you were telling me how sorry you were about my son. The school has done nothing, no investigation. Between them and the police department, nothing has ever been done. Nobody has been held accountable. I asked Dr. Barber on January 18th of 2020 that he would please investigate, suspend Brendan McKnight is all I wanted, suspend Jordan Chisholm, don't let them graduate, and mail them the certificates. And he refused to do it. He refused to do an investigation. My son is still dead, and nobody's done a thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have, hold on 1 second here. Okay, next we have Annette Day. Di.
Sorry, I'm a little, yeah. My name is Annette Day. that my address is listed on the form is correct. I have 2 children in the school district. I don't have a lot to say. Again, I was trying not to speak tonight. But yeah, here I am. So as Mr. Lee so eloquently stated, I am thankful for the teachers of the Springfield School District. I'm thankful to you all as administrators, and I'm trying to be hopeful for our children. Sorry for like the backlash that you all get. It's really disheartening, and I imagine and know as a therapist it's coming from a place of deep pain. And so as my good friend Diane illustrated, we are about love and acceptance of all of our students, nothing more, nothing less. Regardless of political ideology, no one, no adult, no child should be bullied. I continue to be deeply disheartened and saddened by the tragedies that have happened in this school district. I do feel compelled to point out that naming students, former students, basically outing folks, as we know, happens, is not the way. It's just not the way. As my friend Jason said to me and other friends tonight, everyone should have the opportunity to learn and grow. And we know, unfortunately, tragedies have happened and not everybody has had that opportunity. But I want to implore people, you know, of various political ideologies, various faiths, no faith, just try to learn and grow and be open. And again, I'm deeply disheartened by the tragedies, and thank you. That's all I have. Good night. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. All right, last we have Drew Melbourne.
Hi, my name is Drew Melbourne. I live at 242 Harwick Road, and I have a son in first grade at the SLC. My wife suggested that I write things down this month, so I expect I will be screamingly inarticulate, and I apologize in advance as I attempt to read things that I wrote. Past couple months, I came just to lend my support to the LGBTQ folks in our community, both friends and family, students and teachers. Tonight, I want to talk about something else that came up in last month's meeting, and I hope the timing for this makes sense. If it doesn't, oh well. So one of the things that came up last month is that you have hired a new director of school safety, and you are in the process of determining what legal authorization he would have here at the high school. I, in a past life, was a teacher in the New York public school system in the South Bronx for a couple years. I have experience with folks with guns in schools, and I can tell you it's not great for the kids, it's not great for the learning experience. And I would just want to talk a little bit about efficacy and knock-on effects. First, there was a study last year out of, I think it's Hamline University, that looked at every K through 12 school shooting in the last 40 years, 20 years before Columbine, 20 years after Columbine, and they found that if there is a armed officer on duty on the premises, it's more likely that more people will die, just mathematically. And that's a surprising result, I know. There are a couple of reasons for that they suspect. One of them is the profile of people who come in and do school shootings. A lot of them are suicidal. The fact that there's somebody there with a gun is not a discouragement, it's an encouragement. The second is if they know that there's gonna be someone there with a gun, they bring more guns, they bring more bullets, they escalate. We escalate by bringing someone in with a gun, they escalate by bringing in more guns. As a result, more people die. It's not safer. Second, I admit I don't 100% know which set of legal authorizations you're talking about entrusting Mr. Shermack with, but when you give folks the ability to arrest students, they arrest students. The number of arrests goes up by anywhere from 3 to 8 times, 4 times that for people of color and people with disabilities, both seen and unseen. Setting aside the emotional impact for some folks I think we're mostly all white up here. There are people who grow up with different experiences, different learning experiences from their communities, from their families, expectations, that having someone with a gun, someone asserting authority, is not great for them. And the things people get arrested for are disrespecting the security officer, for not following instructions, the sort of things kids shouldn't do, but also the sort of things that they should be given detention for or given a suspension for. They shouldn't be arrested. And so just as you're having this conversation, I just want you to think through that. Talk to the kids. You had the student government here last month. Talk to the kids and get input. Don't make this decision quickly. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have items for public information. First, we have the Springfield High School Cougar student successes. Rebecca and Kiona, they're right up front, good.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'll be talking about the athletics first. Our high school football team has just ended their season last Friday with a close game against Strathaven High School. They made it to the second round of playoffs, and our winter sports teams are also getting prepared for preseason and training hard for the games to come. Our bocce team is also beginning to practice and are excited to be welcoming new players. And for service, the class advisors are preparing to host another dance at the high school. They are now selling tickets to the snow dance, welcoming any juniors, seniors, and any guests to attend along with their friends. Student Council is planning on using their funds from homecoming to support other clubs around the school and alleviate some of the costs of tickets for other school dances. The National English Honors Society held their induction ceremony on Tuesday, and the National Arts Honors Society is holding theirs tomorrow. The W.E.B. Du Bois Honor Society is also holding their induction ceremony in the coming weeks. Our UNICEF Club is planning a holiday bake sale as well to fundraise for future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kiona, and I'll be talking about the arts. Recently, the art department here at Springfield High School had an alumni show. The art contained at the alumni show was created by the span of past Springfield students dating back to 1966. The art show was open to the public and showcased 56 pieces of work. These pieces of art were actually on sale for the public, and where 70% of the proceeds go to the artist and the other 30% go to funding the Springfield Educational Foundation. This show was created and held in honor of Beth Filona, a past Springfield teacher in the art department who passed last year. In the music department, the band, orchestra, and choir, and Springfield singers are all preparing for their upcoming winter concert. I'll also be talking about academics. As we start a new quarter, students have been very busy with new projects and classes. In Ms. Kovach's AP Bio class, students have been measuring the stomata and the inside of a leaf during photosynthesis with the help of microscopes. This helps students understand the cell membrane and its function. In the 9th grade class, AP World, taught by Mr. Mills, students are now entering a lesson about major empires from the years 1500 to 1700. They're learning about gunpowder empires like the Ottomans, the Safavids, the Mongols. That's it, sorry. And in Mr. Salona's and Mrs. Love's honors physics class, students have recently done the egg drop experiment, where students had to make a contraption out of specific resources and materials. This is to help prevent the egg from cracking when it's dropped from the second floor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hi.
Thank you so much. So I'm just kind of curious, maybe now that we're through, I guess, the first semester, I guess I'm thinking like college, but maybe you could just share maybe one new thing that you've learned, picking from any of the pillars, any of the 4 pillars. What's maybe one new thing that you've learned this year so far in school?
Oh, that's a hard one. Well, in AP Bio, we're learning about the...
Good, you picked science. Yes.
Yeah. We are learning about stomata and how the chloroplasts use light and CO2 and water to create ATP. And with the Calvin cycle, it's very interesting.
The what cycle?
The Calvin cycle, where it makes glucose for the plants to use. Yeah.
Thanks. You'll have to know that, yes. I thought you said the Krebs cycle, but that's another ATP process, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I unfortunately don't have a science this year.
Okay, I like to learn in general, so I'm a little biased towards science, but I'd love to hear what other pillar.
But in academics, I am taking AP Stat with Dr. Harley, where we have been using 538, which is a political website which shows what's happening with the election so far, and some of it has actually been incorporated in my AP Gov class with Mr. Nelson. And then there we study the elections and everything, and the House of Representatives, senators, and governors.
Oh, so are you learning about like confidence intervals and things
Yes.
like that? Yes. What? Oh, all right, he's coaching me, sorry. So now that you're in high school, any advice that you would give some our middle school students that are here today? Now that you look back on your...
Keep up with your work.
Get ready.
And then lastly, I guess another question is, what year are you in school here at Springfield High School?
I'm a senior.
Oh.
I'm a junior.
Okay, so can I keep going?
This is why we're here.
Okay, sorry, I'm a real geek. So what do you guys, if you feel comfortable, what are you guys thinking about what are you thinking about doing after you leave Springfield High School?
So I'm still in the process of applying to colleges, but I'm interested in majoring in environmental science on a pre-med track and minoring in Spanish.
And minor in Spanish?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I got to travel to Spain with our school this past summer. It was really fun.
Great.
I am luckily not applying to college yet. But I do plan on majoring in marketing and minoring in economics.
Nice.
How's the FAFSA process coming along?
Well, my dad did that, so. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. We wish you both well. But yeah, I'm a little bit of a, my father was wondering what other degree I was going to get, and I told him I think I'm done. But I love school, so I'm glad to hear you're having a great experience, and thank you again for being our interns.
Yes,
You want to
thank
know
you.
something that Dr. Laughlin does know that she's very humble about? She can sign.
Oh, thank you.
I wish I could do that.
Well, we had the class here.
I do.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, girls. Next, we have ETR Student Pillar presentation. Mrs. Conlon. I'll make sure Jen doesn't grill you.
This is Colin and I have some great discussions.
We
I'm sure
surely
you do.
have.
We have.
We have. Good evening, excuse me, President Lord and school board directors. We are thrilled to be present tonight to share a snapshot of our pillars and our student experiences through the ETR pillars. Tonight, we will celebrate and present each pillar introduced by a member of our ETR faculty and celebrated through our students sharing their stories. So to start our evening, I invite Mrs. Katie Stewart to introduce our academic pillar.
You're taking pictures. Come on up front. Seriously, come up front.
Yeah, we're here.
We're really cool with it. Come up front.
Well, that's middle school. That's middle school.
I'll introduce you.
We'll get them from here.
This guy's doing it.
Got some proud parents here.
Academic pillar?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I'm Katie Stewart. I teach administrative technology at the middle school, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity to allow us to share a little bit about my coding and droning course. As part of the PA Smart Grant that we were awarded in 2020, the district was able to purchase a drone program for us, and the program allows the students to learn the basics of coding a drone to fly. And I found when I first started this, I would ask the kids, how many of you have flown a drone? And most of the students raised their hands. And then I would ask, well, how many of you have actually programmed the drone to fly as opposed to using a controller? And none of them had done it before. So this program allows our students to use computational thinking in order to strategically fly their drones through different obstacles.
Even better, the drones that we're using this year were actually constructed by our SHS student tech team. And the students today that I have Vincent Mayetta, and I've got Abby Nato, and I've got Delaney Kearney, and they're going to be showing you guys some cool tricks with the drones. So I'm going to introduce Vincent Mayetta first. I'll hold on to that for you.
My drone that I'll be flying today, is going to take a picture of all of us here at the board meeting. I've created a program where the drone will take off and fly up 6 seconds into the air before taking the picture and then after land. I've also set up a program to show me when the picture is being taken, as well as to fetch the picture from my drone to my iPad. I will present you the picture, the resulting picture, after we show our obstacle course.
All right, so we're going to come in and take a picture.
That was cool.
And now Abby and Delaney are going to share a little bit about the obstacle that they're going to go through. Abby?
In our class, we started with very basic commands like taking off and landing, but then we were introduced to different obstacles. We were challenged to figure out what codes would get our drones through the obstacle course.
Tonight we programmed the drone to fly and do a few tricks, but had to keep in mind the space we had and adjust the timing of each command.
Our drone is still fetching the picture right now off of the iPad. So this is what he was talking about with the program. It's actually telling him that it's downloading, so we'll know when it actually completed.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
Everybody thought it was going to be easy, and then it took, we thought we would just put one code block in, but it actually took a lot more than that to get the picture on the iPad and to get the drone to actually take the picture and to have it
What disciplines were you using to do this? Was it more math? Was it more science? Was it more English? What do you feel like you had to use more of in the coding?
math.
More math?
So just to let you know, on a career path ready-wise, I just came from a large factory, a large industrial plant in Minnesota. I just got off the plane a couple hours ago, and one of the things we did is we programmed drones to go take pictures. There's million-gallon asphalt tanks, and there's pumps everywhere, and it's frankly dangerous to have a person go take pictures of everything.
Yeah.
So one of the things we have now are people that can program a drone that will know the geometry and go around and take infrared thermal pictures as well as regular pictures, and you can save yourself and get quite a great deal more information in less time. So this is actually terrific for career readiness.
Very nice.
We're actually, if you're okay with it, we're going to try really quickly to see if we can take that picture one more time, and then we'll get out of the way while it's loading.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kevin, you know my son quite well. So he's in college. He's studying environmental resource management with turf management. But that's one of the things that they use drones now, again, to go out to then collect data.
Yeah.
To collect data on the resources and bring that back instead of sending individuals out. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Walt Hartson, one of the assistant principal at E.T. Richardson Middle School. The next group I'm going to introduce is Mr. Ryan Adolph and Mrs. Jessica Gagler, and they're going to talk about our athletic pillar. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Ryan Adolph. I'm one of the facilitators of the ETR Student Athlete Leadership Group along with Jesse Gagler. We're excited to bring this idea of student athlete leaders down from the high school, which they've had the last few years under Tom Lemieux. It's been a great success up at the high school. Actually in our next meeting, the high school student athlete leaders are going to come down and meet our middle school student athlete leaders. We have 4 ETR athletes with us tonight to speak about the group and provide an update on the completion of the fall sports. We have Michael Neville, Ella Smythe, Allie Clark, and Sarah Kugler. So I'm now going to pass it off to Michael. He's going to let us know a little bit about the group's mission.
The ETR Student Athlete Leadership Group's mission is to promote a positive environment through community service, school spirit, and leadership activities that will impact the school community. The goals of the group are to develop student athletes into leaders that are viewed as role models on and off the field, create a positive connection among student athletes and the rest of the community, communicate with administration, coaches, and student athletes, encourage student participation and involvement in after-school activities. We are excited to act as leaders in the school to help our fellow teammates and classmates create a positive school experience.
ETR Athletics had a very successful fall season. We had over 165 student athletes compete on 10 different teams this fall, which included soccer, football, field hockey, and volleyball.
Our soccer and volleyball teams competed at very high levels. They each earned several wins. They played together as a team and gave 100%. Our football team battled all season and finished with a record of 4-1. The highlight of their season was an exciting 14-12 win over Conestoga. Shane Kilgore kicked a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to earn the come-from-behind win.
In closing, our field hockey team, which the 3 of us were a part of, had an amazing season. We finished with a winning record. Although we focused on teamwork, determination, and improvement throughout the season, our favorite part was the friendships and the memories that were formed on the field. We would like to thank all of the coaches and the staff for their time and dedication this past fall. We would also like to thank the high school for allowing each of our teams the opportunities to play on the turf fields and in the Cougar Blue Gym. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Megan Sheratonjic, Assistant Principal at ETR, and I am happy to introduce the Arts Pillar and Mrs. Wisely.
Hello. The Arts Pillar provides students opportunities to express themselves creatively and collaboratively. ETR Drama is just one example of that pillar. With opportunities both behind the scenes and on stage, drama helps students develop valuable skills such as self-expression, communication, confidence, and teamwork. Since beginning the program 5 years ago, the Drama Club currently has over 140 students participating in our production of Newsies this year. It's my pleasure to introduce 3 students involved in the show to talk about their experience.
Hi, I'm Monica McGrath, and I play Catherine, a female news reporter covering the Newsies strike. Being in a production is an amazing experience. You're always surrounded by a wonderful group of supportive people, and you can always feel like yourself.
Hi, I'm Bethel Smedkin, and I play Muriel, a newsie who goes on strike. Being in an ETR production takes dedication and hard work, but is an awesome experience.
Hi, I'm Joey Wheeler, and I play Crutchy, a newsie struggling with polio. We are all so excited for the show. Make sure you come see us February 24th, 25th, or 26th. We have 3 shows this year and hope to see you there. Thank you.
And to conclude our presentation this evening, Mrs. Parsons will introduce our service pillar.
Good evening. The Springfield School District has a reputation for excellence as well as a commitment to the pillars of academics, arts, athletics, and activities and service. These pillars of academic success, personal development, and initiative in one's community are at the essence of what Springfield students are and what they bring to the world. ETR's Student Council is one dynamic example of our service pillar. Student Council's mission is manyfold, but service is at the core. Our student leaders are always driven to ask, how can I contribute to my school, my environment, and my community? I am pleased to introduce 2 of our 8th grade Student Council Executive Board members who can speak to Student Council initiatives through the lens of our service pillar. Please join me in welcoming Zoe Mears and Adam Nielsen.
ETR Student Council is committed to service. Our team of student representatives complete both leadership training and the service activity at each monthly meeting. We also host service events that every ETR student can participate in on a monthly basis. Recently, Student Council has assisted with the annual Turkey Trot at ETR, as well as a canned food drive to collect non-perishable items for our community.
The Student Council takes pride in continuing a tradition of service. This year, we look forward to once again making holiday cards for local care facilities, care packages for our hometown hero first responders, and beautifying our school campus to commemorate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We will also host a school-wide collection of new socks in partnership with a local organization that provides new warm socks to those experiencing homelessness. Last year, we collected over 4,000 socks. This year, we plan to expand our reach with several new initiatives. Our blue and yellow Student Council t-shirts say it all. Believe, be the good in this world. We are looking forward to a year full of opportunities to exemplify our Springfield School District service pillar. Thank you.
I have to say we are quite proud of our ETR students and our dedicated faculty and staff. I am fortunate to walk our building each day and see each pillar alive with enthusiasm, from the incredible sounds of our band and orchestra every morning to welcome us each day to the last game and the last student that walks off a field or a court. I can proudly say that we were thrilled to be here tonight to share a glimpse of something really special with you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Could you guys stand up and we can get a nice picture of all of you? And
Yeah, you're not getting out of here that easy.
Right
You know
here,
that.
just face that way.
For all the parents, I took plenty of pictures of all the kids at the podium, and fair warning, my kids say I'm the worst photographer ever, and there were a few of my thumb, but I'm going to get them, I'll get them to Beth, and we'll get them to the teachers. And
If you want to take a picture, come on up. Don't be shy.
that is fun. Mostly it's because of my, picture. Mike.
Good job, everybody. Now, we just have about another 55 to 60 minutes of business if you just sit down. Where are you going? Have a good night. Get your homework done.
We leave two-tone?
Yeah.
We
excuse
Miss Conlon.
Miss Conlon. So maybe if you could share with us later, as a board, we'd love to be reminded of what those service projects are, and so that maybe there's a way that as board members we could, help either participate or help make contributions.
Have a good night.
Okay, next we have the Cougar Sport Report. Ms. Flynn.
Well, thankfully, you don't have to sit through my report tonight because the kids took care of it for me and they did a beautiful job. Sort of reminds us why we're all sitting up here. Kids are really, you get out what you put in, and they're doing an amazing job. So I would just like to say one thing, though. Mr. Lee brought up a really great point. Well, actually, a few great points tonight. First, events. Pretty much at all of our schools, all 5, have really wonderful activities, concerts, plays, band concerts, choir. If you are ever interested in attending anything, everything is posted on our website. It's a really great tool to find all of the activities. And of course, sports provide us with a year-round group of entertainment. So check out our website, ssdcougars.org. Sorry, I should know that off the top of my head. And also, Mr. Lee, I really loved what you said about our teachers and our staff. I mean, we are really blessed here. It's a really wonderful group of people, and they put in a lot of time and effort. So I thought what you said tonight was really beautiful. So I'm going to end my report there.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next, we have committee reports. First up, we have education. Dr. Laughlin.
Yes, thank you, President Lord. I'm going to turn it over very quickly to Dr. Barber. Unfortunately, I was not at the last Education Committee as I was out of town for business, but I did want to thank the crew that put on the play, the musical, just a few weeks ago, Schoolhouse Rock. I came with my husband and with another couple, and I have to say it was wonderfully done. Brought back a lot of childhood memories. We were singing. I was actually disappointed when it was over after 50 minutes. I thought it was going to go on for 2 hours. It was so much fun and well done, and I would encourage all to attend future productions because just a wonderful, wonderful evening. So, Dr. Barber, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Vice President Laughlin. At the Education Committee, we discussed our building updates as we usually do. We looked through our 4 pillars in terms of our focus, just like our ETR students did this evening. We talked about positive behavior support systems we have in place. I was really very impressed with Ms. Meg Myers, one of our teachers here, who's doing an exceptional job of supporting our staff and our students. We also talked about the fact that our elementary music proposed curriculum has been on the website, and has been on the website for about a month now. And just if anybody wanted to check that out, they can. And we gave a little professional development recap, and we also had kind of an open discussion about just some of the topics that were on people's minds. And we did get into the discussion about ESSER funding and how we've used that funding for class size and for math teachers, and that we have to get very strategic in the next couple months in terms of our education committee to make sure that we ensure that we have the proper class size and the coverage that we need to keep supporting our students to do the things that they were doing here and beyond that. It was a good discussion. And we also talked about that we want to have a place on the agenda for, just other discussions and things that are on people's mind, and we can always do that. And I'd just like to remind everyone, you don't have to wait for an education committee meeting or any committee meeting. If there's anything on your mind, please email us, call us, and, I would say if you have, like a student issue, start with your teachers and guidance counselors and at the building, and then we'll work our way up through the directors that work with the elementary, middle school, and high school, and then to us. So really appreciate it. It was a great meeting, and we'll get to you about December's meeting. Sometimes December's meeting comes up against some other things that are going on. It's a very busy time of the year. I know we have a huge education committee meeting in January where we're going to go over some of that research. So
Right.
we'll talk and we'll
Right.
see where we're at. But we'll get that the date and everything out to everybody. If we are going to meet, it's going to be on December 15th at 6:30 in the conference room. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Barber. Facilities, Mr. Keenan.
Thank you, President Lord, and my apologies for the jeans, and I just got off an airplane back from Minnesota at about 5:30 and ran right here, so I didn't have a chance to dress up for you.
That's
So I'll have to
dedication,
stick to
Ken.
my substance a little bit more than my usual style. But Facilities Committee did meet on 11/9. It was a brief meeting. It was held online. We discussed project closeout of Phase 1. The Phase 1 is the high school and the fields. It basically was mostly contractual items that we discussed, not so much nuts and bolts or turning of wrenches, but we still continue to manage that process. We also reviewed progress at Saybold. As you know, there's some work going on right now for the Saybold air conditioning project, mostly occurring in crawl spaces. We appreciate our contractors and our staff working collaboratively to make sure we can get ahead of that. We are still managing, just to be fully transparent with my neighbors, we are still managing lead times. Lead times in the manufacturing industry and the HVAC industry in particular are very volatile. We are okay right now. That does not mean in 2 weeks we may not get something saying this unit that was supposed to ship for next summer, so we could complete the project, is now shipping next fall. If that happens, we'll communicate it and manage it accordingly. We then also began to discuss how we're going to review the SLEP, the Service Life Extension Program. That was started by Director Carney before I was even on the board. It's a very good process. We completed a review of all of our buildings less than new high school, because it is new, so we didn't have to review it, but and we'll come up with recommendations for operating and capital expenditures moving forward and give the information to the board to make a well-informed decision. We are going to meet again on December 8th at 6. My guess is that meeting will be online, as I don't see a big agenda, so if you'd like to, please contact. It's going to be a lot of procedural things. I don't see it being too long. I wanted to echo that. Mr. Lee, thank you so much. In my time on the board, that was one of the best speeches I've ever heard for public comment, and all we had to do was give you a T-shirt. If I would have known that, I'd have given you a T-shirt years ago. You spoke eloquently and you hit the point, and I couldn't agree more. I was so happy to see our young ones and our middle school leadership up here. It can be lonely to sit up here. We do get attacked, but as long as I see our students and staff fighting and going above and beyond to make our next group of leaders, our next generation, that much better, I'll continue to support and to fight and to drive to make us better. But that was a really terrific group of leaders and students coming up here, and that just gives you a shot in the arm. So that concludes my report, President Lord. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Keenan. Next, we have Finance and Audit. Mr. Agavino.
Thank you anyway. I do not have a report this evening.
Nor do I for personnel, so we'll go right to policy. Mr. Bentavania.
Policy did not meet for November. We will be meeting in December on Monday, December 12th, 5:30 p.m. in the district's conference room.
Okay, great. How about volunteer memorial? Anything there?
Volunteer memorial will be meeting on Monday, November 21st, 7 p.m. in the Township Building.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda. Although board action is required, it is generally unnecessary to hold discussion on these items. With the consent of all members, they are therefore grouped, and approval is given in one motion. In the event a board member wants to discuss any item, the board president will move it to an appropriate place on the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries 8-0. Okay, next we have items for board action. First up, we have the personnel report. Recommendation reads that the board approves the personnel actions as listed in the personnel report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bellis.
Thank you, President Lord. On this evening's personnel report, we're recommending the employment of 2 non-certified staff members, the change of employment status and position for 2 non-certified staff members, and 1 family medical leave. And that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Bellis? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have Saybold Elementary HVAC Commissioning Services. Recommendation reads that the board approves the proposal received from Wright Commissioning for technical commissioning services to confirm the HVAC upgrades for Saybold Elementary School meet all designed work, scope, and performance requirements during installation, startup, and operation of the building systems. The cost for these proposed services will be billed hourly for a not-to-exceed budget of $73,600. All costs for these services will be funded from the capital projects bond proceeds. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Mooney.
Thank you, President Lord. So Wright Commissioning is going to serve as our commissioning agent for the mechanical work being done at Saybold. Most of that work will be done in the summer, but they are probably going to get started now with some of the work under the crawl space. They took out an oil tank today at Saybold. And Wright kind of will help us make sure that things are going in according to specification and everything is working as designed.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Mooney?
I just have a comment. I'm glad to see that WCX is a certified minority business enterprise and women's business enterprise. That's great.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have approval of restructuring the settlement agreement for student 8350 that has previously been approved. Recommendation reads that the board agree and accept the proposed settlement waiver and release agreement for student 8350. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Dr. Barber.
Thank you, President Lord. This again, as you had mentioned, is current agreement that we have. By law, we need to ask the board to vote to restructure fundings from one specific area to another. We're not asking for new monies, just a different designation on how to use it, from educational equipment or resources to educational tuition. That's it.
Okay, well, we won't take any questions or discussion on this. We'll move right to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry. Any abstain? Motion carries 8-0. Had a brain cramp there for a second. Next up, we have real estate tax assessment settlements. Recommendation reads that the board authorizes and directs the solicitor to finalize settlements of the following real estate tax assessment appeals for the following years and amounts. Folio number 42-00-06857-00, 300 Summit Road, Springfield Township. What's that for the year? Is that for year 2021? This proposed resolution for tax year 2021 results in a $37,160 increase above the 2021 assessment and yields a tax dollar increase of approximately $737 to our district for tax year 2021. The proposed resolution for tax year 2022 results in a $37,160 increase above the 2022 assessments and yields a tax dollar increase of approximately $759 to our district for tax year 2022. Folio number 42-00-03998-00, 246 Summit Road, Springfield Township. This proposed resolution is a decrease of $102,930 below the 2021 assessment and yields a tax dollar decrease of approximately $2,043 to our district for tax year 2021. This proposed resolution is a decrease of $102,930 below the 2022 assessments and yields a tax dollar decrease of approximately $2,103 to our district for tax year 2022. There's additional information on our website if you so choose to look for it, and I'll ask for a motion.
Second.
Ms. McCullough?
Thank you, President Lord. These two appeals are for adjacent properties. They were brought by the property owner. The figures that we are asking the board to accept as a settlement are the highest fair market value which our district's appraiser can support for these properties.
Any questions for Ms. McCullough? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have the property exchange agreement ratification. Recommendation reads that the board ratifies its approval of the subject property exchange in accordance with the property exchange agreement that was approved at the June 23, 2022 Springfield School Board meeting. The board also authorizes the board president or the secretary to attend the real estate closing and execute necessary closing documents related to the subject property exchange. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. Mr. Mooney.
Thank you, President Lord. So the board has approved the property exchange agreement back in June. This is a resolution required by the title company, so we can complete settlement on this transaction. And this will be the last piece of information to have this go to settlement.
Any questions for Mr. Mooney? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Any abstain? Motion carries 7-1. Next, we have liaison reports. First up, solicitor's report. Ms. McCullough.
Thank you, President Lord. I do not have a report, but I do wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Next, we have the DCIU board report. Ms. Ravinsky.
Thank you, President Lord. Just very briefly, DCIU did meet Wednesday, November 2nd, 7 p.m. at their Morton offices. Of note, they had their annual essay contest, and this is all students throughout Delaware County in grades 6 through 8 can compete. They present an essay of about 200 words, and that was held, well, they usually have a parade or some sort of ceremony, Veterans Day, which was Friday, the 11th. The other item of note is their LPN had a virtual open house, and that was held November 15th at 5 p.m. And there is one more item. Oh, they have started this IT repair shop. And it's actually, it's a way for their students in the technical school to gain practical experience, as well as it actually, they hope, will be a source of revenue for the DCIU. And there are 4 school districts and 1 charter school have set up agreements with them to use them as their shop for IT purposes. And they're hoping it will create a co-op experience for the DCTS students. And that's it. The next meeting will be Wednesday, December 7th at 7 p.m. It's hard to believe it's going to be December already. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Where is that unit that they're doing the repairs and stuff?
It's right in the Morton building. Yeah. Okay. And they have a van that will go pick up equipment to be repaired and bring it back on site.
Okay, so it's open, like, anybody can do it, or, I mean, is it just going to be for the schools?
It's open to the schools.
Okay.
Yeah, school districts. We have our own
Yeah, what we have
in-house.
up in the library.
Right, we have our own in-house, so we don't
Good.
utilize it, but there are other
that's
districts that
great.
don't, such as, I think, Ann Arbor. and- Yeah.
That's great.
Great, thank you very much.
It's a win-win. for
Yeah,
them.
sure. All right, Delaware County Community College Board Report, Mr. Sillo.
Thank you, President Lord. The liaison board has not met since the annual appreciation dinner, but they do have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday, December 7th.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, future board meetings. Our next meeting will be December 8th, and that will be our annual reorganization meeting, and then it's followed by our regular meeting. Superintendent salutations, Dr. Barber.
Thank you, President Lord. I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity again to thank our students that came out this evening from ETR. They did a wonderful job with our staff, and we really appreciate them, not just for giving us a little glimpse into what their day's like, but to also just take the time to be here with us. It's nice to have students back at these meetings and to see the excitement that they have and the dedication that our staff has and our administration. So that was really great, and thank you. I want to send another thank you out to Natalie Tanner. I had the pleasure of attending the National Honor Society ceremony last evening. It was a wonderful event. Just great to see so many of our students be inducted into such a prestigious organization. A retired teacher, Mr. George Trout, was our guest speaker. I was just blown away by his speech. He talked about the pillars of the National Honor Society, and when it comes to honor and character and being the type of person you want to be in the dark. And we talked about that a little bit today in terms of, it's easy when the eyes are watching you, but when the eyes aren't on you, can you do things the right way and for the right purpose? And George talked a lot about, in terms of like service, like giving and not necessarily expecting anything back. So I thought that was just a really wonderful message and really challenged our students to, not be pretty good was his word. Be better than pretty good. Kind of reminds me of the late Bill Brown, go beyond what's expected. So thank you, Natalie, and our team and all of our staff and parents and families that came out for that evening. It was wonderful, so thank you. I also want to thank the SAFE staff, our foundation who's doing some strategic planning now. I know Mr. Mooney's, putting a lot of hours in, and we appreciate it. President Steve Dodaro. If you don't know anything about SAFE, there are a foundation that is alongside of us that raise funds to help us pay for things like tutoring and other wonderful things, scholarships for students that we may not be able to afford. And they do a wonderful job, and we really appreciate it. Last but not least, I'm sorry if I'm taking too long. As always, in every meeting, just want to thank our speakers. We appreciate your honesty. We have a good team here, and what I mean by team is that no one person designs or encompasses or has, kind of the final say when it comes to a system that serves thousands of students, thousands of families, that is responsible for millions and millions of dollars. So we have a really good system. It's a great system of checks and balances, whether it comes down to our attorneys or our board, our internal audits, our administrators, our teachers, our outside audits, our policies, our practices. We're constantly doing that 360 look to make sure that we're doing things the way they need to be done, and trying to make sure that we can continue to look at the pillars ourselves and make sure that we're walking the walk. Obviously, we have a family member of our community that's hurting, and my heart breaks for that family, and I hope that they can find peace. I really do. And but we appreciate the comments, and we appreciate the honesty, and that's what a free country does. It allows people to give their opinions, so we appreciate the opinions. But again, just getting back to our pillars, I think I wrote this down, and I kind of showed Jen. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm usually writing a note to Jen or Bruce, and I just said, the pillars are the key to all we do. So academics, athletics, activities, the arts, and service. If you have those four components in your life as a person, as a community, as an organization, I think your organization is going to thrive. And don't think I didn't think about fiscal responsibility, guys, down at the end of the table. I did. I think it's a really important thing, but I also think that those 4 pillars kind of are the purpose of why we're here. So we appreciate, again, the students coming out and demonstrating real life in the pillars. And that concludes my salutation.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Barber.
Thank you.
Before and after each meeting, the board meets in a non-public executive study session to discuss personnel, legal, and labor relations matters. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.